Hi everybody, welcome back to Marconomics presents Hoot Loot, the place where you come to be informed, be amused, but never be misled, like cable news, for example. Now, I told you a few weeks back that I rang the bell, went ding ding, and said the NASDAQ 100 was not going to make a new high. I said I would eat crow. Okay, can't find a crow, can't find, a crow around here. They don't serve them, they don't deliver them, nothing. So all I could do is Velcro, and I'm going to do this. See, I'm going to take a piece of Velcro as close as I can come. And this doesn't taste very good either, trust me. This tastes like, ugh, oh God. Oh God, that's horrible. Oh, I would rather had crow. Anyway, I'm going to say that that was a bad call, but the markets are so confusing right now that today is going to be all about trying to make something out of just the most confusing market we've ever seen. And I also want to talk about, you know, Bill Murphy and our joint promotion with him. And he is a precious metals king. He has a magazine called, or a daily newsletter called Le Metropole Cafe. And he offers free subscriptions to it. 2 weeks. And we're going to have a special drawing in a few weeks. And the lucky winner, who is a subscriber of ours, and a subscriber of his, or at least a 2 week subscriber of his, will get a fully paid for newsletter. And also, he's got another organization called GATA.org, GATA.org, and that's free. That's just a charitable organization. You get lots of great information for free, and he's got information from all over the world. And we did a couple of interviews with him, and he knows his stuff. Let me tell you. Um, we also we also want to talk about today just how dire the economic situation is. And we're really inching towards a some kind of an implosion, except it's not going to be a controlled demolition. It's really inching towards markets inching toward an uncontrolled demolition. God knows where things are going to fly. But in any event, we're going to tell you all about it right now. And if you'd like and subscribe, please do right here. And we will see you right back with the charts. All right, well, what's on everybody's lips these days is Bitcoin. A few weeks ago, we did a show called Bitcoin Bites Back, asked a few questions like, who runs it? How did it get to be $1 trillion without any management team or operations? How did it just show up? Lots of stuff like that. And I have yet to get an answer from anybody. Was there a prospectus? Who actually invented it? That person supposedly would be worth $30 billion right now. Kind of hard to have no footprint without it. Anyway, check that episode out because it's actually building towards a whole bunch of stuff that we have that is just going to shake you to the ground. So Bitcoin right now, it's today $31,000. It's down more than 50%, and they're pretty much, if it breaks 30, it's going down 85%, which is the average, and it may go to zero. I mean, Bitcoin is nothing. It's a password, and that password is just a password. So I don't know. You can declare it legal tender, but then the U.S. has to declare that it's made in the USA. So that's a little bit of a problem. Um, anyway, here's the other canary in the coal mine we love so much, called Tesla. And Elon Musk is quite the character. I have to talk about him sometime. But today, it looked like it actually may have bounced out, and so we're looking at it carefully. We called it for now a bear flag, but I don't know. This one is very very close to breaking out, and Tesla is a really good leading indicator of the way the market's going to go, especially among the more speculative stocks. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average, it looks like it broke down, but it also may be in a consolidation pattern in blue, and maybe in a bull flag. I don't know. It sure seems like unstoppable, and right now, the Fed is just buying bonds like crazy and driving interest rates down, and when you buy bonds like crazy, you end up driving rates down, you drive stocks up. What can I say? That's what happens, and we know they like to do that. So the Nasdaq 100. Okay, so here's where I ate crow. They made a slight new high, and it did move up. It's in an ellipse right there for you. Not all the stocks are doing great, but they're doing more great than not. So right now we'll have to tip it toward the positive side, and this thing has some further rally to go. In all likelihood, we'll see. S&P 500 is also looked like it had broke down and it just continued to go up. This thing seems like interminable. Just goes up and up and up and up. Oh, incredible. Small cap index also now. This one made a new high, bounced off a triangle, and this one could go either way. The green line is would represent overcoming overhead resistance and shooting higher. We'll see. I just can't imagine how a stock index with so many stocks could go up 100% in a year with inflation going up and rates going up and their profits going down and the GDP getting killed. I just don't get it. But that's what happens here in the good old USA free market. All right, the Dow Jones Transportations is actually a really good indicator. The transportations have been they were just on fire the whole time. And what we're noticing is that the price for bottlenecks, especially in the economy, logistics, getting an item from A to B, you're worth, it has got to be one of the most important and a higher profit margin than it's ever had. FedEx, we'll talk about a couple of them later, but the transportations right now are also, they're in possibly a bull flag, but it's interesting that they're going down while other things are going up. So we'll see about that. The U.S. dollar is another one that just blows my mind. I mean, I don't know how to make sense of this thing. The U.S. dollar, I mean, they're just like throwing it out there in buckets, like Helicopter Ben. That's Ben Bernanke, a former Fed governor who was called Helicopter Ben because he said, well, if things get really tough, I'm going to throw money out of helicopters. Well, we practically do that. We just don't throw it out of helicopters anymore. But, stimulus check after stimulus check after stimulus check, stimulus check. I never get mine. I never get a stimulus check. I wonder why that is. And I've had to go to a shrink because of it. And sometimes I lose my temper. But I'm not going to today. I'm going to be very calm. Stimulus check. Check. Okay. Anyway, the U.S. dollar is going up, and I don't know why. The only thing I can think of is the U.S. dollar is a relative to the euro. And the euro might be just even much more of a you-know-what than the dollar is. I don't understand how any currency could be worse than this right now. This thing is just being thrown out there like crazy. The printing presses are going nonstop, and the Fed is buying bonds like yesterday's business. This is a CRB index of commodities. This one has continued to inch higher. I don't know how much more higher it'll go because now it's in a bear flag. That means an upward sloping flag as opposed to a downward sloping against the trend flag. So this thing has a little higher ways to go, but look at that move. That's over 100% a year. And I mean, how can you have inflation of 2 or 3%? I have no idea how that could happen, but the Fed does. Crude oil right here. Now this thing is incredible. This thing is West Texas Intermediate. It's now gone up to $75 a barrel. I mean, $60 used to hold it in, and it was below zero at one point in time. This thing is just crazy. So I think another thing that may be going on here is hoarding. And this is one of the weird things that happens during an inflationary cycle. You start to get people hoarding things and making them in either shorter supply, and then when they unhoard them, everybody sells them at once and they just crash. And you're actually going to see an example of that in a minute. So I'm going to show you one. This is unleaded gasoline. It still continues to go up. People are still driving. I mean, it's unbelievable how much this has gone up. Here in California, it is just, the taxes are like this amount. Not to mention all the stuff they put in it. But unleaded gasoline is basically a commodity that goes up. Natural gas also, look at that, somewhat of a sideways pattern, and now it's going up. Now it's making a new high. So natural gas is becoming a very good substitute for other kinds of energy, and it's also going up. So we'll see about that. Now this is a different situation. This is lumber. Now, I've talked about lumber in the past and being in a short supply and plywood and all that, and it going up to 1,600 from 200. And that's, that became very much, I wasn't sure if it was a bubble, if it was because of inflation, what it was. But today, or Friday, I should say, lumber went down more than 50%. I mean, it wasn't a bubble. It was in a temporary bubble. Lots of people hoarded it. Okay, is what happened. So there's none to be found. And then all of a sudden, they couldn't get a higher price. They kept thinking it was going to be a higher price. They sold it, got rid of it, and there was no more buyers because the people who paid 1,600 were done. They bought one or two sheets of it, just to complete a project in all likelihood. And I'll bet you some hoarders just got killed in this. I mean, lumber is not likely to, other than inflationary, it's not likely to be in short supply, is what I'm saying. This was kind of a bubble caused by, the end of building season and stuff like that. So, copper these are the copper miners. They're also another component of home building. Sometimes the copper is worth enough to, basically strip a house for, just as the Sopranos, they do it all the time. But this looks like it could be one of two things. It could have topped temporarily, and it also could be in a bull flag. We'll just have to see. Right now, lots of metals look really, really good, and so I would guess that this is also going to be really, really good. This is the agriculture fund right here, and we're going to show you some examples of the agriculture fund. It's in a this is a descending wedge. That's a bullish pattern, and these are a bunch of just agriculture overall. And here's a couple of examples. The Livestock Index. These are hog bellies and hog jowls and Granny's possum and all that kind of stuff. All kinds of really good stuff. And this thing, this is another index, continues to make new highs, go up. And I'll tell you personally, when I order, groceries to be delivered, the hardest thing to ever get is any kind of meat product, because those things, those meat packing facilities or whatever, I know had a harder time, reopening, and with proximity and the vaccines and masks and regulations and this and that. So that's one of the things. And livestock, sure enough, has gone up a hell of a lot. And that's held up despite Beyond Meat, which has 27 chemicals and still costs as much, if not more, and that's about it. Okay, sugar. Here's another one. Remember the Archies? Ah, sugar. Do, 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 do. If you're really old, you remember the Archies. That was like my first favorite song. But sugar's gone up quite a bit too. Again, in little bursts and stair-step pattern, and that's another food product that is very important. Invesco Base Metals Fund. Now these are tin, aluminum, zinc, all kinds of stuff like that. Iron, steel, you name it. It's included in here. These are very basic building materials, and they're just continuing to go up like crazy. And here we go. Here's like Alcoa makes aluminum, and aluminum here's another. This is a former Dow component. Okay, now Alcoa has gone up 800%, incredible, and it looks like it's consolidating in a descending flag. But we'll see, and it's just another company that I haven't shown before, wanted to show you, and that's part of this, that we could be pausing right now in this inflation simply because they've gone up so damn fast. And I think that's what's really happening. Here's Palladium. Now, Palladium did get hammered the other day. It got all the way back down to support there at 2,500. So this one has gone up a long ways. I remember Palladium being at $400. So this has done really well. And this is an electronic vehicle component. So it has, some really good industrial value, and it has definitely gone up quite a bit over the last several years. Now, this is one that just floors me endlessly, is gold. And gold right here looked like it had broken out, and it just so happened to make its bottom at the time Bitcoin made its top. So it kind of looked really perfect. All of a sudden Bitcoin starts falling, and gold is now falling too, which I don't really get this, how much it fell that much. And so gold is sort of in the neutral category right now, and with inflation going where it's going, the fundamentals for gold mining are unbelievably good. But the chart's bad, and you have to look at the chart and how bad it is. That is too big of a drop. It should have not had that big of a drop. And I suspect, especially if that new Basel III conference that was going to eliminate fake gold or paper gold, which we've talked about with Bill Murphy, in the, that thing was going to pass. well, then gold and silver would be creeping up quite a bit, and paper gold and silver would be creeping down away and starting to spread back from them. That's not happening. So gold, I don't know what to think about it right now. I really don't. I'm going to say right now, neutral. It should be going up. I don't know why. Well, I suspect I know why it's not. But and here's silver. Silver again looked like it was creeping back up, and then all of a sudden just got just belted. And all the miners, all of the top miners look bad too. So that's another thing I've looked at, and I don't really, right here, I don't know. I don't understand it. I really don't understand why silver would not go up with these kind of fundamentals going on. But the charts are always right, and you have to listen to them, even when they go against everything you have to say. And that's the important thing. Don't get stuck on a certain point of view, or you end up defending that point of view and losing all your money. Better lose some of your money and eat crow or Velcro. Boy, did that taste bad. Bleh. You better eat Velcro than be too proud and end up eating big losses. So these now this is kind of interesting. Now, 5-year yields. Now, first of all, I want to mention 3-month bill yields are now at 43 basis points. And I forgot to put that in today. 43 basis points with the Fed saying the first rate increase is going to be 2023. Okay, 2023. And now the federal funds rate is at 0 to 0.25, while 3-month bills are trading at 0.43. Now, how on God's green earth does that happen? How does a guy have a straight face and say, we're not going to raise rates for a year and a half while rates are already gone up? He's going to have to raise rates this year. He's going to 1.5 at a minimum, maybe 2, maybe 3. I just don't know. We'll see. But the market's going to force him to do it, and he's stuck. Because the problem is with the Fed right now, they cannot raise rates, and then all of a sudden there's such a big deficit that then gets refinanced at huge amounts of money. And basically the deficit is like 28 trillion, and we owe half of it to ourselves. And who pays? Now, who would be so stupid as to pay for something that yields 2% when inflation is running at 8%? I can only think of one entity. Oh yes, the federal government. Sorry about that. I forgot about that. Okay, so anyway, 5-year yields. But I do digress. 5-year yields are up. They were up to almost a record high today. And what's interesting is that we're seeing, the short end, which is like 3 months, 2-year, 5-year, perform very well. Okay, there, and then you start going out to the 10-year. Well, it started to a little bit, not as much. Then you go out to the 30, and the 30 is performing terribly. And so the yield curve is doing what's called flattening. Flattening means that it becomes more of the yield curve is time to maturity to time to maturity versus yield. So normally, if something is very very short time to maturity, like a T-bill, it yields a lot less than a 30-year bond. Now that differential either can go up or go down. If it goes up, banks tend to do very well because they invest or they borrow short and lend at the longer rate. So that tends to help them. It usually tends to be stimulative to the economy and creating, credit and all that and expansion. Right now, the yield curve is flattening, and that's what's really interesting. Is that it hasn't yet inverted or anything like that, but it's flattened in an awful hurry, and that is usually a precursor of some kind of recession. So I don't know that it'll happen this time. We'll take another look at that, but just be aware that could be an end result of all this. That that stimulus may just have kind of done one of these and just kind of got up and gone down. Well, stimulus that I never got, by the way. I'm going to say that and say that and say that. Okay, so let's keep going here. Now we're going to talk about what's on everybody's mind: crypto. The ultimate way to get rich quick or get poor quick. In this particular case, Bitcoin Cash down. This is down 75% from its peak. Okay, this is going absolutely nowhere. What does it do? What can you use it for? It's a medium of speculation. It's not legal tender. I mean, some people will take it. Overstock takes it, but nobody wants to spend it. They just want to speculate in it. So, who knows? And Ethereum has also gone down about 60% from its peak. Now, Ethereum does have a management team and a president and all that kind of stuff. And, I'll be the first to admit that I am not the most knowledgeable on Ethereum. But I do know that they do have an actual team and that kind of thing. And there are actually people that run it, whereas Bitcoin just completely runs itself and is worth $1 trillion, and nobody actually runs the thing. It just kind of they put it in auto motion or something like that. And Ripple is kind of interesting too. Ripple is this is a real company, but Ripple itself is not the company. It's called Ripple Labs. Ripple Labs makes these. These are tokens, okay? These are something that you would use to get money to Mexico from here or another country quicker than the old wiring system and cheaper. Now, the thing about it is it's just a token. And so why the thing would have such wild swings is unbeknownst to me, especially when JP Morgan has one of these, Facebook is about to launch one of these, and everybody else can launch one of these. It's just a way of wiring money quicker, and we have electronic wiring capability right now. So it just isn't really something that I really see as having that much value. It'll be very competitive, but it does have some utility. It's just a token, okay? And there you go. All right, so, and then finally, here's Litecoin, another one that is sort of a Bitcoin clone, except it claims something that does something better. But here's another one, loss of 75% peak to trough, okay? When you have that kind of loss, peak to trough, you've burst your bubble, okay? That means that it will take years to work that off because you have so many people that all of a sudden are underwater and will finally want to get out, and they don't bounce from here typically. They might. I mean, it might bounce a little, but it's going to be years to work it off in some kind of basing pattern that it's going to have if it has any value at all. Because I've said before, I question the value of Bitcoin as to why it has value. I really do. I don't quite get it now. I get why I get a lot of things about it, but I don't get why it has some kind of currency value. It certainly does not have that. So we'll see. We'll see about that. Now this one is one, since we're on sort of, a little scamming here, talking about it. This is called Square Inc. Now Square Inc., the reason I put this in there is they owe me money. Square Inc., there's a ton of people out there on the social media who claim that Cash App has stolen their money. I am one of them. They stole my money. I just want y'all to know that, and I hope someone from Square Inc. is listening, and if you're not, then I hope that someone that even more likely, someone who's been ripped off by Cash App, gets in touch with me, and we'll start a class action lawsuit and see how much they like that, because that is just so uncool. I have all the proof I need. Okay, so we're going to go to the bank index here real quick, and the bank index is it looks like it's actually in a rounded top pattern curling over. We'll see. Maybe it's on a new leg up. I don't know. Again, this is something I'm not really sure I can make much sense out of. The broker-dealer index, this one looked like it broke down. Now it looks like it's going back up again. I can't make sense of it. They always seem to somehow have just when they're dead, they're like sort of like Jason. They get up and all of a sudden, bolt of electricity, and they get up and they go. I don't know what the hell it is. American Express, also, here's another one that makes it brand new high. Now, I really don't understand this too, because American Express, caters to high borrowers, and not really, people that are receiving stimulus checks, and are these high net worth people actually using the American Express card more? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that's it. Well, here's a pretty interesting thing. Goldman Sachs looks like it's broken down. I'll believe it when I see it, because right now there's still suckers out there in the market. There's still deals getting done. There's SPACs and these NFTs are getting done at huge amounts of money. And these things are just ridiculous that they would go at those prices, especially when you have such beautiful artwork available to you right here, like the Hoot coin and the Hoot keychain made by our own artist, Katie Devsich. She is making such neat stuff. So, you don't have to. They have a crypto department now at Goldman Sachs, so they're gonna ride the wave with it. We'll see. JP Morgan, this one's starting to look like it may be curling over. I don't know. It's a bellwether bank type of company. Target, unbelievable. Look at that. Just continues to roar higher. This one is executing. This one is a retailer that is not getting damaged. Some of them are. This one is just executing. That's all there is to it. And that's what I'm saying. There's cross currents everywhere. Visa right here is the, this is a sign of the economy as well, because it's a credit card company. People make credit card purchases, retail is 70% of GDP. So Visa continues to march higher. I don't know how much higher it can march. I mean, I would think that people are, people after not being able to work for a while are in more debt than normal, but we'll see. Walmart, this is another one that is another huge retailer that was executing pretty well. It's a Dow component, and look at that. It's actually starting to possibly break down. So Walmart's executing not as well. Target is just ripping up, and that's this kind of signs we're seeing. We're seeing signs of everything going every which way but loose, and it's very hard to come to a conclusion about all this, except for one thing. We know the Fed's lying, we know inflation's going higher, and bonds will not continue to go higher at some point because the market is already moving them up for the Fed. So we pretty much know that's going to happen. Okay, now I'm going to show you some of the mega caps and weekly 5 years. Apple, again, it's in an indecision pattern, a triangle. I think it's actually going to break down, but we'll see. If it breaks up, we're likely to have a pretty good move. This is the largest stock, in terms of market cap. It's practically a country. So here we go. Google, here's another one. Alphabet, 5. These are all 5-year charts. You can really see how much movement there has been and how long it's going to take to work some of this off when they're over. I mean, they're not going to just take a pause and go up again. They're going to have to work some of this off. That takes time. And if rates are higher, they could have quite a correction here. Now, if you look at Google, it looks like it's just unstoppable. Well, it is for the moment, but things change. The one thing about the market is, the one constant is, things change. Here's Amazon right here. It looked like it was going to break out above 3,500. It came down. I don't know why. Can't explain it, but you look at it right here. It bounced off of that resistance. Maybe it breaks through it. Maybe it doesn't. This is still neutral. We thought it would break out. Still don't know. So again, something that we don't understand, a long period of consolidation right here that's just putting people to sleep, and who knows what kind of money's going in and coming out. Facebook right here, the company you love to hate, or actually I love to hate because I do hate it. I don't get involved in it too much, but this is the company that owns WhatsApp, and we're going to talk a little bit about WhatsApp next week and QR codes and stuff like that, and how easy it is for criminals to use the system now to get money. We're going to actually have that be a special report, but you're not going to believe some of the stuff we've uncovered. You're just not going to believe it. Mark Zuckerberg, get ready for the Nuremberg trials, my friend. You're going down, pal. All right, Microsoft, another company. Speaking of which, here's another company, a long ascending wedge. It's performed very well, but the problem is a lot of it is interest rate related. It's getting high multiples, all that kind of stuff. It's a very hard company to grow, and to work that kind of growth off is going to take several years. So again, this is likely to be dead money. You cannot buy low and sell high right here. You just can't, because you're buying really high as it is. The people that are buying it high, I don't know what the hell they're buying it for, because it's already really high and you're not going to make money. There are things that are low that you can still make money on, and there are things that are high that you can go short on if you so choose. Oops, went a little too far there. NVIDIA, here's another company that's become rapidly a mover and shaker. NVIDIA makes chips. It makes incredibly fast chips, and this thing is net worth almost $500 billion. It's amazing how this thing has moved. This is the kind of company that might just break out the NASDAQ. So we'll have to see, which companies do that, which ones they don't. We just don't know. We don't know about the Dow. We don't know about any of them. They're all at their highs. They're all right there. The sentiment is really positive, but Bitcoin is getting killed, and I don't know. There's been some questions. I've heard some questions about some of the things we've been asking about. Wait a minute. Who runs this thing again? I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. Caterpillar tractor. Look at this. This one is one where we can use it educationally. It's a infrastructure company, and it's already broken down from its highs. 40 points. 245 minus 205. That's 40 points. The second leg down, which is what I think is starting now, should be another 40 points, and it would go down to the downside target of 180. The reason I think that's possibly going to happen is look at the volume down there. Nice big screaming volume to get you down there. And I think that would be the sort of the target area. This thing's going down, and for it to go down once the infrastructure bill is signed, see, that's kind of very common. It's common to rise into something, and then once it's reality, you then fall on it. You rise into it, rise into the news, and then fall. So that's pretty common. You have to watch out for that. You have to get in early, not on the news. If you get in on the news, you're probably buying at the top. This is 3M Company, another infrastructure company right here. This is another one that broke down below a parabolic trend line. I wouldn't quite look at it as Caterpillar yet, but it could be. Caterpillar took a pretty good dive, and so did Dow Holdings, and that's another one that we've talked about in the past. This right here is something that we're going to talk about in future shows, and thank you all for coming. But this has been blurred out, so you can't use it. There is something here, and I'm going to keep going here. These are QR codes. People know QR codes, okay? QR codes are like on a box, and you scan them, you go to a website. They're called static QR codes, okay? Now, there are some that are dynamic, meaning that they can go to multiple websites. Now, there are some that I would call malicious, okay? And the first one was a malicious QR code that that I blurred out, and that if that in conjunction with the WhatsApp camera, the WhatsApp camera, it actually acts like a plug and a socket, and you can siphon money out of somebody's account and personal information because the QR code on your side is electrified, on their side is electrified. Okay, so both of you, all of a sudden, it's not just a picture, it's electrified on two sides, and the money can come right out. And I've already heard stories about it, and we're going to tell you all about it, and we're going to tell you ways to prevent it from happening to you right very soon. There's so many stories. I've got so much information. I want to get it all really understandable, because to help, I have to be a QR expert to do it. But in any event, thank you for coming today. It's been great having you here. Please like and subscribe. And don't forget about their special promo with Bill Murphy, La Metropole Cafe, and www.gata.org. And we're going to have a show in about a week or so. It's going to just blow your socks off. But for today, we'll leave you with just a little hint. So with that, I will see you next Wednesday, and thanks for tuning in.